Paul, there is a scenario here where college football is played next spring if the global pandemic doesn't allow for a fall schedule. How viable do you believe that option is?
Randy, I don't think it's viable at all. First of all, it conflicts directly with the college basketball season, and it will create a nightmare for commissioners and television executives. I think it's more realistic that the season will start sometime this fall. There's talk about maybe a little bit later than early September. But I think the bigger issue is even if we have college football this year, will fans show up? I know on our program, fans can't wait to watch football. They can't wait to see it. But there's a difference in wanting to see it and going to a stadium and sitting with 103,000 people. And based on just word of mouth, people calling into a program and talking to people, I think there's going to be a great reluctance. Now, will there be people? Sure. But I don't think you'll see full stadiums, at least not in September or October.
Well, that's assuming fans are even allowed to be there in the first place.
Right.
There is certainly the prospect that these are empty stadiums here. And for a sport that has such an important history with fans and with fan participation, what's your reaction to a season maybe in empty stadiums?
I don't think it's going to happen. I've spoken to many athletic directors. Last week, I spoke to Jack Swarbrick from Notre Dame. He is against it. Mac Brown told me the other day he is against it. And I think it would make the college experience look so bad that putting players on the field, risking whatever they're going to risk, and not letting fans in the stands. I think it's a non-starter. And I think if college athletics hopes to maintain any integrity at all, they will not allow that.
Okay, so outside of potentially moving the season and outside of perhaps fan reluctance in terms of coming back to the games itself, what other long-term impacts do you see for college football here?
I think one that we're hearing about for the first time in a long time is the expansion of the college football playoff. If this goes on, like we hope it doesn't, but it could, then I think the playoff committee would be forced to expand it to at least 8 teams to make up for lost revenues. That is a gold mine at the end of the season that right now they are not taking advantage of by only having 4 schools in the playoff.
All right, well, sometimes say invention is the born of necessity, and perhaps that will be the case here. Now, whenever college football is back here, because we continue to talk money, Paul, Caesars has just released its Heisman odds, and there is a tie at the top for the shortest odds. Justin Fields, 4-1 to win the award. The Ohio State quarterback finishing 3rd in voting a season ago after scoring 51 total touchdowns. And tied with Fields is a man who has been on a national stage seemingly since he got there into the upstate in South Carolina, and that's Trevor Lawrence, who finished 7th in the voting a season ago. Now he'll look to start up a new winning streak of his own, and certainly for Clemson after seeing his 25-game win streak come to an end in the national championship game. And there are 3 players tied for the 3rd shortest odds at 15-1. Miami quarterback Eric King. You have Georgia quarterback Jamie Newman, and then Sooner quarterback Spencer Rattler, who probably wins the name game here. King and Newman both transferring from Houston and Wake Forest, respectively. So, Paul, let's keep it to the top 2 here in Fields and Lawrence, who are both at 4-1. If you had to choose one to win the award, who are you going with?
You've asked me some tough questions in our experience together. That's the easiest. It is Trevor Lawrence, and I don't know what Caesars is thinking. Maybe being out of the betting business for a month, they've lost their edge. But Trevor Lawrence is going to be the odds-on favorite in my book. And he was the favorite last year, and Joe Burrow came out of nowhere. But Trevor Lawrence I think, should be the prohibitive favorite to win the Heisman Trophy.
I think maybe you look at some of the recency bias of some of Lawrence's struggles at times last season. Maybe that's clouding some of this. But right now the season's scheduled to start August 29th. Paul Finebaum with the insight for us.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.